Hey yo YouTube, here continuing talking about what's been going on in my D&D games. Last I left off we were talking to the wise ones. Um that that Indian girl ends up clearing up a few things we were unclear on. Like I had most of it, but like my timeline was off a little. Like she says that initially they were on a mission down there. They ended up finding the Waygate. Eventually, a group of scientists came in to study the Waygate. Eventually, they figured out how to open it. Um, Once when they opened it and started exploring, they ended up finding the door that led to the Abbas, and it like wiped all of them out except for one of them that was on the mission going through the door. Um, and then after that, everything got a lot worse with the scientists. Like the scientists started studying more of the Abbas than they did the Waygate. Um, the then like Eventually a group did go through and find the door to the Abbas again, and it ended up being what's called a human dimension, something like that, and which means that there's only humans. There's no demi-humans. There's no humanoids in this world. And eventually, the uh, a group of humans split and evolved into what were known as the Abbas. And I believe it was also like an apocalyptic world too. Um, so, like I said, it turned out that Abbas are some kind of evolved human. And then, like I said last time, the New Loran is interested on keeping the door open to the Waygate to get to that part of the world, so they could figure out what's going on with the Abbas and stuff like that. Um, we end up taking like a day's rest. Uh, I know like my character goes and goes gets a weapons upgrade. I also go back to the medicine cat of Shadow Pride and ends up telling him about my death and telling him about the knoll and stuff like that. Um, I know Nina ends up going back home also. Like she gets teleported to go back to her kingdom because apparently she's like a princess, and like she gets a letter that tells her that someone wants to talk to her, and then she brings back, and she ends up talking to her mother and father. Not too much with those two conversations. I guess Darko is a character the player played in another game, which is her father. Uh, but then she goes and talks to this scientist person who is the one who sent the letter, which pretty much it fills he fills her in on like a few things that apparently she sent him. Like she sent him uh, the thing that the vampire was giving the blood that the vampire was giving the Wemmicks to whenever we saw Blood Clan, and pretty much he says there's no way y'all killed this vampire. And he was like, yeah, we did. We killed him. And he's like, it's impossible. There's no way. And eventually he pretty much says that whatever they come to the conclusion, whatever vampire we killed that wasn't the blood in this container or whatever. And it was like one of the most powerful vampires they've ever known of. They said probably only very few people have ever slayed a vampire this powerful. Like the next day or so, I want to say Nina goes to the gate and or the door to try to open up the way gate or get back to the way gate. They end up testing to see if what happens if we keep both doors open. Like once when they do it, it ends up just linking, so they could completely go back and forth. I want to say they figured that out with all the doors we discovered. Um, my character ends up I end up getting together with my DM for a night or two and get a couple of fights in so I could catch up the experience I lost when I died. All it was us going, and it was me back and like the four Wemmicks that we gathered on this journey, going and hunting down albas. Like we ended up fighting off like two different mobs of them. Eventually, we got to the river, and like they told us that they didn't want us to go farther than the river, just that far, and then we headed back. So like during that whole time, I wanted to, including that little encounter with the Abbas that I had, like 4 days past, mostly because I'm waiting for my weapons upgrade. I try to get I get a +2 to my halberd and I also get a +1 to my bow. I want to say the fight before the Abbas, I leveled up again. So now I'm a 5th level Wimmick, 1st level barbarian, uh, 2 level fighter, and I put 1 level in the ranger. So we end up camping. I want to say not far from the door or something, but either way, Nina gets another vision to to go through the door. So we end up heading out for our next mission. Um, I want to say that no, Nina sleeps before we go through, and she has a vision where where she sees Admiral's paws, and there's a little bigger ones that's walking next to it, and then eventually she sees them split, where the big one goes this way and the small one goes that way, and she ends up following the big one. And whenever she starts following it, there's a light and she wakes up. Um, Personally, me, I took that as she made the wrong choice. Like if she would have went that way, we would have saw more stuff. Um, so like the next day, we get up, go through the door, find Admiral's paws. It's just Admiral paws though. There's no secondary paw, and we start following it, and eventually we get to the spot where she saw them split, but where us we see like a foot gap, and then the things continue, and there's nothing the other way. I end up doing, like I said, I just put a level into Ranger, so I end up doing my first tracking check. I believe I rolled a natural 20. So he does say I see something that's like another set of paws that are leading another way. Um, Nina's pretty set on we should go the way she went in the dream. I'm thinking, no, we should go the other way. Like first of all, those like in my head, I should have been more clear with it then in the game too. But in my head, I'm thinking you always follow Admiral, and that's the way Admiral went. Um, we go back and forth, and then eventually I ask Beck to put Nina to sleep, and then I ended up saying, well, since I'm a Wemmick, I could take a nap on command. I go to sleep too, and we go to sleep, and we wake up. We see Armoretti, and Armoretti standing there looking at both, and she's like, what a conundrum! This is a conundrum, and like we end up startling her when we say something, and pretty much she ends up telling us that if we keep going the regular path, we'll go to where we need to go. But if we go the other path, like it's gonna take us some time. Like it's gonna be a diversion, but you might get an ally, and you might find some questions that you don't know. Um, and we talk to her a little more, but that's pretty much the basics of what we hear. And then so we wake up, and we wake up back in. Rawright's supposed to be portrayed as true, but the player was asleep, ended up falling asleep. So pretty much we just see Beck standing there over us, and she says that a lot of time passed. She's not sure how long she was here, but it was a while before we woke up. Uh, So we still go back and forth on it a little bit. Oh no! Now that we know this information, we're like, well, we another ally would help, and it wouldn't hurt for us to know more. So we end up deciding to go on the new path. And I've been talking for 10 minutes. If you want to know what the new path is, watch my next video and check you later.